If you're a serious combat athlete and not incorporating this conditioning workout into your routine, you're leaving a lot to chance and potentially creating a lot of holes in your game. When it comes to cardio and conditioning for combat sports, most fighters have it wrong. They do a lot of road work, a lot of skill training, maybe some high intensity intervals, maybe some sprinting, but everything's random and there really isn't a lot of why behind the cardio and conditioning that they do. And in today's video, I'm gonna be talking about probably the most effective conditioning workout a combat athlete can do to have relentless cardio, so they have the ability to dominate on the mats or in the cage. It's called the heart rate control interval. So let's just jump right into it. What are heart rate control intervals? Heart rate control intervals are a form of high intensity interval training that's designed to do two things. First, simulate the demands of the sport or the competition that you're in. So if you're a fighter, if you're a grappler, we are pushing ourselves into the deep water, into the highest limits cardiovascularly of our sport. That's the first thing we're trying to do with these intervals. The second thing that we are trying to do is increase our heart rate recovery. To put it simply, our heart rate recovery is our heart's ability to come down from near max all the way down to near rest. If you think about a fight, let's just say we have a 3-5 minute round fight, you have a 1 minute break in between each round of that fight. If you can bring your heart rate down lower and faster than your opponents, and you can do it on demand, you are going to be able to dominate with a relentless pace round after round after round. So we know what heart rate control intervals are. We know why they're important for combat sports. So how do we perform the heart rate control interval? So there are a few key points that I need to highlight here. First, we are simulating the demands of your fight. When it comes to conditioning for combat sports, more does not equal more. This is about quality of training, not quantity of training. So if you are getting ready for a 3 2-minute round fight, do not train 8 5-minute rounds, 3 5-minute rounds, 5 5-minute rounds. More is not more. Get really conditioned at the event that you are competing in, and then use that time to do something else. Go lift, do more skill training, go to bed. Do something that's going to be more productive to your time. More does not equal more. We're going for quality, not quantity. So for this example, we're going to use a 3 5-minute round fight, okay? So that's the first really important thing that we need to highlight. Now from there, we have the duration of the rounds that we're using. The second key point, what exercise are we doing? It's very important that we select a cardio exercise that is going to push us to our limits, push us to our max. This could be something like an airdyne bike or sprinting. We could use sport-specific drills like wrestling or pad work, but we are going to do something that is going to push us to our near limits. I personally love the airdyne bike. I got a love-hate relationship with that thing. Push yourself really hard. It makes your cardio incredible. Okay, so we know how long we're doing the total duration for, 3 5-minute rounds in this example. We're gonna be doing this on an airdyne bike. Now, the key here is that we are performing really high max effort intervals for a short duration, followed by a rest period. So let's say we're gonna do 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off. So if the duration, the total duration of my first round is 5 minutes, and I'm doing 15 seconds of work followed by 15 seconds of rest, I'm going to repeat that 10 times. That equals 5 minutes in basic math. And this way we're simulating the fight. I'm pushing myself as hard as I can, pulling off, pushing myself as hard as I can, pulling off. Now, from here, in between each round, we are going to rest until our heart rate comes down to 120 beats per minute. I don't care if this takes 30 seconds. I don't care if this takes 30 minutes. You are going to rest until your heart rate comes down to 120 beats per minute. This is where the heart rate control comes into play. We are learning how to control our heart rate. If you are an out of shape or undertrained athlete, then it is going to take you longer. You are going to be resting for longer because it's going to take longer for your heart rate to come down. If you are a highly trained athlete, then you're probably going to rest for shorter, right? As we get get more conditioned, our heart rate's gonna come down quicker, and so our rest time is going to go down. When you look at some of our top performing athletes, our UFC guys like Julio Arce, Mike Trizano, their heart rate in 1 minute drops anywhere from 50 to 60 beats per minute. So if they get done that first round and their heart rate's up at 180 beats per minute, and their heart rate drops 60 beats all the way down to 120 beats per minute, then they're jumping right back on the bike in a minute or less. They don't get a lot of time. But this is how we start to increase our heart rate recovery. The more we practice these intervals, the more we understand how our breath and our thoughts affect our heart rate. We understand how to breathe, we understand what to think about, we understand how to stay calm, and we also know what it feels like. Oh, this is what it feels like for my heart rate to be at 170. Oh, this is what it feels like for my heart rate to be at 150. Oh, this is when I'm recovered, I'm ready to dominate. This creates a lot of confidence, and it also allows you to recover at a really high level in a fight. A great example of this is John Jones. When you look at John Jones fights, every time he sits in his corner, his coach is always like, think about waterfalls, right? And it's kind of funny, like, what do you mean think about waterfalls? But this is calming. This is lowering John's stress. It's letting his heart rate come down. It's improving his heart rate recovery so he can dominate round after round after round. This is part of the reason the man can throw jumping knees and spinning elbows like it's no big deal into the depths of a fight, because he has a really high level of heart rate control and a very high heart rate recovery. So we know how to do these intervals. Now the next really important step to improving your heart rate recovery is the progression. There are two ways we are going to progress our heart rate control intervals. The first is through the work-rest ratios of the rounds that we're doing. Let's say week 1, I'm doing 3 5-minute rounds, and I'm gonna do 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off for all 3 rounds. Then week 2, I'm gonna do 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off for round 1 and round 2. And then round 3, I'm gonna do 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. Week 3, round 1, I'll go 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off. And then rounds 2 and 3, I'll do 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. Week 4, all 3 rounds will be 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. I'm increasing the intensity of the work that I'm doing by having a longer work ratio with a shorter rest ratio. Within that same 5-minute duration, I'm still simulating the demands of my fight. A good rule of thumb to know when you need to change the duration of the work to rest ratio is if the workout starts to get really easy. If you're doing the same 15 on, 15 off, 20 on, 10 off, week after week after week with no progression, you're gonna get really good at that, and that's great. But in order to grow, in order to get relentless cardio, we consistently need to put new degrees of stress on our body. This is going to allow us to recover better and adapt to make us overall better conditioned and more relentless fighters. The second way we are going to want to progress the heart rate control interval is by increasing our heart rate recovery. How do we increase our heart rate recovery? Well, it's pretty simple. We get our heart rate down to 120 beats per minute faster. So if week 1, it takes me 2 minutes for my heart rate to come down to 120 beats per minute, then week 2, I want my heart rate to come down quicker. I don't care how much quicker it comes down by. It could be 5 seconds, it could be 10 seconds. So if it takes you 2 minutes for your heart rate to come all the way down week 1, maybe it takes you 1 minute and 50 seconds for your heart rate to come down to 120 beats per minute in week 2. That's okay. There's room for improvement. This doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to really build a relentless gas tank, but the more you do these intervals, the more you are going to be able to push yourself into the deep end, simulate the demands of the fight, and be able to perform at a higher level when you're actually training and when you're actually fighting. And you're going to have a better heart rate recovery. You're gonna have more control over your heart rate. You're gonna be able to bring it down quickly. You're gonna be able to bring it down on demand, and you're gonna be able to dominate your opponents round after round after round. If you want to learn more ways that you can develop relentless cardio and dominate your opponents on the mats or in the cage, I got 2 resources for you. I just put together a brand new playlist on this channel with all of my videos covering conditioning for combat athletes. You can go down the rabbit hole by just clicking somewhere up there. It'll bring you to the playlist. And also down in the description, I put a link to my brand new free ebook. This ebook is how you can master heart rate data to make you a more relentless and just a better conditioned combat athlete. As always, if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. And until next time, catch you later.